Hello, people of the internet. This is Kaiju Noir.
And Pete.
And what do you know? We are actually back together to review another movie.
Oh yeah, it's been, I don't know, like maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 months.
About an entire semester's worth of movies that we missed out on reviewing.
Yeah.
Although funny enough, the last movie that we saw was The Martian with Matt Damon, and we did not get a chance to review that. Maybe we'll review it. Maybe we'll do a whole 2015 leftovers review that we did like we did last time.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be talking about those movies we missed out on. We are here to talk about Star Wars. It's fucking Star Wars. Holy shit, man. It's here. We went, we saw, we conquered. We most likely fainted.
We cried, we loved.
We hated. We experienced all sorts of emotions for this experience. Yes, we are here to talk about our thoughts on Star Wars: The Force Awakens, the 7th installment in the famed, the legendary, the holy greatest film franchise of all time, I guess. Debatably, the biggest film franchise of all time, Star Wars. You know, who hasn't heard of Star Wars at this point? It's like so engraved in our into our culture that it's like stormtroopers, Wookiees, TIE fighters, Millennium Falcon, Death Star, lightsabers.
What a time to be a Star Wars fan too.
Oh yeah. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for people who really don't give a shit about Star Wars. They're like, fuck, I'm like, they're kind of like burnt out on Star Wars because it's so everywhere.
Well, think about back then though, when the movies were first coming out. You know, it's like people back then, like, you know, being into Star Wars wasn't all that easy, I want to say, or just like in general, like being into like, you know, geeky culture.
Right. But even then, Star Wars was like kind of
a phenomenon.
Yeah, everyone embraced Star Wars. Like even like studios when they first saw Star Wars back in like '77, they were like, this stuff is like for babies, like fucking aliens and like laser swords. No one's gonna see that. Let's put all our time and money and resources on advertising this drama that's gonna bomb.
And little did we know.
Yeah, and now here we are. Sorry about that. Roughly 30, so let's see, 77, 87, 97, 2007. Roughly like close to 40 years, I want to say, that the original has been released. And so here we are. J.J. Abrams is, you know, he's in the director's chair. He already directed 2 awesome Star Wars movies with the Star Trek films.
Oh yeah. Let's see, wait. No. you missed it. No, you got it right.
I got it. Yeah, he's like, he already did Star Wars, right? With the Trek Beyond, Star Wars Beyond, right? But I mentioned before, I was a real big fan of those Star Trek movies. I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so it's like going into those movies, I'm like, hey, this is like Star Wars. I like Star Wars.
Yeah, I remember like how we saw the second movie. We
were crazy. Yeah, and then everyone else hated that movie.
Yeah, it's kind of sad about that actually.
Yeah, although looking back on it now, it's like it doesn't really hold up that well. It's like, especially when it's trying to live up to Wrath of Khan. But we're not talking about that.
No, we're not definitely not doing that.
No, I just want to say, how excited were you way back when, like 2 or 3 years ago, when Disney first purchased Lucasfilm and Star Wars, and they announced that, we're going to be making more movies now, motherfuckers.
Honestly, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I like the movies. I never really reached out into the extended universe, so I was like, all right, cool. We're going to get some
Never hit the die. I love the movies, but I never really went beyond that outside of Genndy Tartakovsky's Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah, so for me, it was like, oh, cool, we're getting some new Star Wars movies. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't get on the hype train till even now, I'm still like, you know, all right, Star Wars, great. It wasn't until, you know, we said, hey, we're gonna go watch a movie. It's happening. I guess I am a little excited.
Yeah.
It wasn't until then that I really
you were in the chair. You're just like, oh my god, like this is actually happening.
Yeah. So it wasn't really until like I found out that I was gonna go with you when you asked me that I really started, you know, feeling like, oh man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You start getting all pumped up. It's like you start turning like regressing into an ape, like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
That's how I felt in the theater. Oh my gosh. There was so much revelry. Everyone was so excited. Woo! It was great.
And it's all oohs and ahs, and then there's running and screaming. It's funny enough, this was the first time I actually went out of my way to purchase my tickets in advance on like Fandango.com.
And that was a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, surprisingly, there were still some openings available when we got there. I was actually extremely surprised. That was the 3D version. We saw the regular one.
Because fuck 3D.
Yeah, fuck 3D. Like, this goes into my personal life, but I cannot care two shits about how nice the seats are. A theater is a theater is a theater.
It's like, do you want the premium seats where you can order your own alcoholic beverages and stuff?
No, all I want to do
I just
is
want
sit
to
down and
watch
watch
my
the
movie.
Exactly.
But we purchased our tickets in advance. I didn't know how Fandango tickets worked. It's like, just take your confirmation number to like the box office booth or whatever, the ticket booth, and eventually it worked. And we made the smart decision to show up like 3 hours in advance.
Oh yeah.
And I thought I was gonna wait we were gonna wait in line outside the theater, and I saw people waiting out in lines. Yet, luckily for us, we got to go inside our theater room and just wait comfortably on the top row, in the middle of the top row,
watching everyone come in.
Yeah, and even when we came in 3 hours in advance, half the room was already full.
Yeah, it was good. I know my friend went to another theater, and with him, it wasn't that full. He got there. Mm-hmm. Let's see, I think he got there 4 hours early.
Yeah,
and they let him in like within 1 hour of waiting.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was great for him. Like, all being in his nice cushy seats.
And I was kind of disappointed that there weren't any cosplayers there at our event. Like, they did have a rule. It's like a cosplay rule. It's like, you can dress up, but you can't wear masks. You can't have face paint. You can't have any threatening looking weapons. And like, that's like the majority of the Star Wars cosplaying I
there. Think those might come out more as the night goes on.
Possibly, yeah. Who knows? Because we went to the 8:30 showing, and we just got back from our viewing of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So who knows? Maybe there were like crazy cosplayers out, like at the 7 o'clock showing, or even now at the 1 o'clock showing.
Possible, yeah.
But we are here to. We talked about our experience. I was surprised.
What about you? And you didn't get to say about how hyped you were during this whole thing.
I was extremely hyped because I've always been fascinated as to what became of, Han, Luke, and Leia after the trilogy. And even though I never got into the expanded universe, I've always heard little bits of information, like especially from old school, what you would call the old school Star Wars, like encyclopedias. Like, here's an encyclopedia on the droids, here's one on the vehicles, here's one on the characters, and I would learn, Luke has started the Jedi Academy. And Han Solo and Leia, they had 3 children. They had they had a pair of twins, and they had a son. They named him Anakin.
Oh wow!
And Chewbacca, he had a son, and his son became a Jedi.
There's one little piece of history that says that Chewbacca had a bigger family,
but now it looks like that may not be canon anymore. Funny enough, it's interesting how as soon as they announced Star Wars: The Force Awakens, they said all that expanded universe,
null and void,
non-canon. It's all now considered Star Wars Legends, and I'm sure that upset a lot of people because that's like a huge, enormous like variety of stories where everyone just came in and dropped their own ideas.
And here's the thing. They might say it's not canon, but to us, we
imagine our own canon however we decide
exactly.
it to be.
We're not going to let someone just say, hey, we're deciding that it's suddenly not canon. In a different universe, this is fine. Then we have our own Star Wars universe where this is canon. Yeah, because people worked hard on this. This is art.
It's funny enough how the Star Wars became a thing that's so huge that it became everyone else's universe to enjoy and to experiment, tinker around with. But I was excited to see something new, something different. And as we saw that trailer a whole year ago. We saw John Boyega as the stormtrooper who like running around, walking around the desert, like what's going on? And we see we first see BB-8. We see the crossguard lightsabers. You were like, whoa!
All perfect marketing tools for toys.
Yes, lots of toys. Merchandise where the real money from the movie gets made.
You know how much that BB-8 retails for?
How much does it retail?
I think like $129 to $150.
Do they sell it at Radio Shack?
Yes, they do.
You see, now that I know that BB-8 is actually a good character and not another Jar Jar, I think I want that. So I know we've been going on for like 9-10 minutes about how we personally feel about Star Wars and all the hype, but let's get into into the actual review. But I do want to let you guys know that we can't really review the movie without talking about the story. And here's the thing: the brilliant marketing behind this movie went out of its way to not reveal anything about the story.
Unlike that other movie known as Batman vs Superman.
Like, all we knew going into the movie was that there's there's Finn who appears to have been a stormtrooper, and there's Rey who appears to be someone who lives on Tatooine, and there's BB-8, and the three of them go on an adventure where
Jakku.
they
You said Tatooine.
Is it Tatooine or Jakku?
They said it was Jakku, didn't they?
Or isn't Jakku like a small part of Tatooine?
I don't know.
I thought that was that whole like tiny village.
I don't know Star Wars lore, so maybe,
I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Tatooine.
I'm just correcting you for no reason then.
All right. Well, I think you're wrong, but
you know what? You're probably right.
Now you're making me second guess myself. I hate you for that. But yeah, it's these three characters. They're in Tatooine. They go on an adventure. They meet Han Solo, and they eventually come across this big, scary Darth Vader fanboy named Kylo Ren.
That's essentially what he is, right?
Yeah, that's all we knew going in. And so, in order for us to properly talk about the movie, we really need to talk about the plot. So, if you don't want to hear about the plot, here's my thoughts on the movie. I really enjoyed it a lot. I was kind of bothered by the fact that they tried to use similar story beats from a previous Star Wars film that I won't get into because that would be spoiling it. And it was kind of distracting at first, but I could see why they did that, because they were trying to say, hey, we want to make this like the old Star Wars movies. Let's make the story like an old Star Wars movie, in order to get fans like reinvested in Star Wars.
Playing it safe,
basically. And I did not fully get behind that. Especially when I was watching the movie like, oh, they're doing that from that movie. Oh, they're doing that from that. They're doing that from that. I'm sure that's kind of like how Star Trek fans felt when, The Force Awakens was trying to do, when Star Trek Into Darkness tried to do Wrath of Khan, like, oh, they're doing that, oh, they're doing that, oh, they're doing that. But it's not a straight up remake. No, I like how it was still able to go off into its own direction. And I like the characters. I thought they were good. The villain, he was interesting. He was kind of cool, but not really. But I think that's kind of the whole point of his character.
I think part of the problem is he's very
emotional
and prone to tantrums.
Yeah,
because don't get me wrong, seeing him do what he does is kind of funny.
Yeah, but
it kind of takes away that menacing feel from him. He's just like a little kid throwing a tantrum.
Yeah, but we'll get into that later. So overall, I like the movie. I do definitely recommend go see it, and I especially love the look of the movie, the production, everything. Like, the only kind of CG you would really see is either for like the far distant backgrounds or like for the spaceship fights, because obviously that has to be CG. Everything else is like costumes, the alien suits. There's like practical sets. Oh, it's so beautiful, and no shaky cam. You know how I've talked about this over and over again, how much I hate shaky cam, and yet this really feels like J.J. Abrams has brought back old school filmmaking, and I really hope that other people will come to follow in his footsteps.
Also, no lens flare.
No, well, no, I think it was kind of.
I don't know.
I remember the beginning. I think it was like the lasers at the beginning of the movie, like shing shing.
I just want
to
throw them there.
Yeah, but you're right. There were no obvious lens flares. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Yours?
I'm right on the same boat with you. It was so fun to see this movie, like ridiculous fun. Just like you said, part of the best parts of the movie were the set pieces. Just seeing everything just span out, especially that big ship that was crashed and old in
the Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer. Oh my gosh, just seeing that in the background.
Yeah.
So beautiful. It was amazing.
Right. Okay, so. You ready to get into the nitty-gritty of it?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay, so without giving like the big spoilers, the movie pretty much takes place at a point in time where Luke Skywalker has mysteriously disappeared after he kind of fucked up when it came to rebuilding the new Jedi Order. He had an apprentice by the name of whose name we don't know at the beginning of the movie, but he turned to the dark side and became Kylo Ren of the Knights of Ren, and he works for this big, weird, strange
guy.
I forgot what his name. I already forgot his name.
I did too.
Began with an S.
I'm not sure, but I don't know if I'm going to look into it because I think I'd rather be surprised because I myself don't know much about the character who he was speaking to.
Right. He's very ominous, just like the Emperor again, going into being like the older movies. And so after Luke's apprentice went to the dark side, everything the Jedi Order was kind of destroyed, and Luke went out and he went on a self-imposed exile.
He's a nomad.
yeah, and everyone's like, nobody knows where he is. And so now the main goal of the movie is we need to find out where is Luke's location. And so it's the good guys and the bad guys are all racing to find that special information as to Luke's location, because he's kind of like he's like the key to tipping the war between the Republic and their private army, the Resistance, and a new evil organization called the New Order, or the First Order. The First Order, thank you, led by these strange people who apparently are, I believe the First Order is run by the Knights of Ren, I believe, or maybe the New Order is like in partnership with the Knights of Ren. They really don't make it that clear. I'm not really sure who's supposed to. I suppose the guy who's in charge of the Knights of Ren is also the guy who kind of goes, who makes the same order, who dictates the orders, dictates the actions of the First Order.
Yeah, I'm sure someone knows who that is, because it's possible that
one of the regular soldier guys from the First Order, he talks to the big guy.
Oh yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah, it's funny enough. I kept making the comparison that the big, the leader of the First Order and the Knights of Ren, I keep calling him Thanos because that's essentially what he is. He's like the big bad of the group, who's like super big and imposing.
It makes me wonder if he's a new character, if he's just brought in from the previously.
I don't think the Knights of Ren are from Extended Universe, so I'm gonna say he's an original creation. So we have Rey, who is the girl who you've seen in the trailer. She lives in Tatooine, and she basically she knows her way with machines, so she collects machines from like the old days. You see like destroyed Star Destroyers, you see AT-AT walkers, she collects junk, and she sells it for money.
She's a junker.
She's a junker, yeah, and she lives on
the scraps she can afford.
On scraps she can afford. She's living day by day.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you have Finn. Finn was kidnapped from his family. He's been raised since childhood to be a stormtrooper, and he's like, "No, this is not for me. No, just one battle." And he's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." And so they kind of cross paths, and eventually they come into possession of a BB droid named BB-8, who, like R2-D2, just so happens to have the information to Luke's location. So they need to take him to the Resistance. And of course, they get the help of Han Solo. So that's basically the plot to Star Wars: The Force Awakens, without getting into
too much.
I applaud. So yeah, basically, it's essentially A New Hope in terms of like the initial not premise, but it's like the starting point of the story. It takes place on Tatooine. You have a character who lives on Tatooine, who wants more out of her life.
They like you said that. They also end up going to a bar too.
They go to like something like a cantina bar, but that's like way later in the movie.
Yeah.
They really touch on like familiar elements that you've seen in A New Hope, especially. They're really gearing on A New Hope here, and I love A New Hope. I mean, it's not the best Star Wars movie, but like that's the movie that I always look towards when I think Star Wars.
Lots of references too to it.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's like, so it's a Death Star. Well, it's like it's bigger. Like, well, or oh no, what was it? Leia was. He's like, you can't do anything right, and don't bring up the Death Star.
Or how about when they're holding hostage that one stormtrooper? I forgot what her name is, but they want to throw her in the garbage chute.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed with that. Captain Phasma. She's like
there you go.
She's what I like to call. Before learning about her name, I always called her the Chrome Trooper. And she didn't do anything at all. She dictated orders. She's essentially the Boba Fett of this movie, where she looks cool. She kind of has an intimidating presence. But she doesn't really do anything.
Maybe in the sequels.
And I'm sure there's going to be like video games and comic books that go into her backstory where she'll act like a badass, just like Boba Fett, just like what happened to Boba Fett. Well, like I said, it bothered me that they try to repeat certain story beats from A New Hope, but I like what they did with these characters, where each of them is like, it seems like each of them has to combat a certain type of fear, like Finn, he's kind of like a little bit of the bumbling idiot, but he wants to put up a front. He wants to act like he knows what he's doing, but he really has no clue what to do with his life. He doesn't really have a sense of purpose. All he knows is that the First Order is scary, and he wants to be as far away from them as possible.
While also protecting the girl.
He's grown really attached to this girl, because, he's like, she is this really strong-willed woman who has been through a lot of shit in her life, and it's like, it's also kind of interesting how these two characters, they end up relying on each other for strength, for like that emotional strength.
I really hope we do keep on with this dual protagonist kind of thing.
Oh, definitely, yeah. These two are definitely like the dual protagonists, where like half of the story focuses on one while the other half focuses on the other. And with Finn, he is basically has to deal with his cowardliness. With Rey, she seems to have she has trouble dealing with her past and moving on from her past, and able to take responsibility. Like, she's a very proactive character. Like, when she sees something, she wants it, she wants to get that thing done. But there's something holding her back, and that's like her past, because she always like, no, I have to return to Tatooine to wait for like this special someone. So it's like, no, that person's never going to be there. You have to move on. And then there's Han Solo. He feels like he has fucked up in the past, to where now he has gone back to being a petty smuggler.
Yeah.
And, once again, getting himself into trouble with every gang in the galaxy.
And never manages finances.
Oh, yeah. And so like his is more like he has to deal with... He also, like Rey, he has to deal with his past. He has to deal with the guilt. No, not really.
He has to deal with his failures.
Yeah, he has to deal with his failures. His is a story of redemption. So Finn has to overcome his weaknesses. Rey has to overcome her past, and Han Solo has to overcome his guilt. Each of these three characters have something weighing them down, and all three of them help each other to move on, to move ahead and better themselves. And I really like that a lot. And I really like the chemistry between the three of them. All of them, yeah.
So good.
I really like the relationship, almost like the daughter-father relationship that Rey and Han made. Like, when it was really amazing seeing them together, like when they get on the Millennium Falcon.
It's such a short time too.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah. And you could say the same thing about like episode 4 of New Hope, where Luke didn't really knew Ben for like a long time. Yet he already feels attached to Ben, and so when Ben, eventually dies, Luke Skywalker is devastated. Or even when Luke quickly, bonded with Han Solo through their adventures on the Death Star. So they do that thing where it's like, it's through these major action set pieces do these characters really bond and learn to trust in each other. And I gotta say, unlike the prequels, these characters, they feel like real people. They feel like characters, yeah. And their dialogue is not hokey and
hokey and cheesy. It's not like, yeah, exactly.
Also, I mentioned this to you in the theater, where there were several scenes where I feel like if George Lucas was writing these sequences, like modern day George Lucas was writing these sequences, he would have these characters like state the obvious.
Pointless exposition.
It's like see, like, you are weak, you are this, you are that, you need to do this, you need to do that. They're never on the nose when it comes to a character's weaknesses or when it comes to what a character is thinking. You really see them like they're the cogs working in their brain. You see, like, through their performances, through their processing, like, through their acting, how they manage to cope with the situation at hand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And let's see. Well, I guess there is Chewbacca, but like Chewbacca, he's Chewbacca. You gotta love him.
There's so much I'm gonna say, but I can't say too much. But I feel like you definitely feel you feel his emotions.
Oh yeah,
you feel
definitely.
what he's going through, and I think he's always fun. I think if anything, he always provides a laugh when he's on, if it's not a serious situation.
Yeah, same thing with BB-8. BB-8 really works well at where succeeds where Jar Jar has failed, as being this really nice little comedic sidekick.
Oh yeah, just that beginning scene, or when oh god, what's his name?
Finn.
Yeah, when Finn's trying to convince him to help his side to make his lie true.
Yeah, it's like, let her know I'm part of the resistance. Please just do this for me. It does a little thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that's adorable. It's funny. It seems like BB-8 was made with was specifically in terms of like the filmmakers, how they designed BB-8. They really designed BB-8 to have as much to portray as many emotions as possible.
Oh yeah,
much more so than R2-D2. R2-D2 was mainly focused on noises. BB-8 also had noises, but it had a lot more movement with like the ball design.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's his head in particular, the way it moves.
But then also it has like little gadgets like R2-D2, but it has these gadgets like the cables or the little zapper thing.
It just conveys emotion out of a machine.
For a machine, it does convey. Yeah, you're right. It does convey a lot of emotions, and I guess I know BB-8 was a practical effect. That was a real robot that rolled around and stuff. I don't know how much of how much percentage of the film was CGI and which was a practical effect robot, but I was really impressed that they were able to even do that. And speaking of which, the practical effects, man, holy shit!
The practical effects, the costumes, everything was just wonderful.
There's like this big, like rhino-sized alien that's drinking out of a watering hole. I was like, wait a minute, I can tell as like someone who loves like suits that I can see the skin like folding and creasing. Of course, it's like supposed to be leathery skin, but I'm like, no, that's a person. Suit. That's a person in there. Yes,
that's actually there.
And I remember when J.J. Abrams, made a video saying, hey guys, I'm working on Star Wars now, and he's on like the Tatooine set.
Well, that's the thing, he films on location, right?
Yeah, he filmed on location, and then when he was making that video for the fans, there was an alien walking in with like a camel head and neck, and I saw that guy waiting in line like behind Rey when she was like cashing in
you really?
Yeah, her junk, her scraps for food rations. And I was looking at all those costumes like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. Yes, double rainbow all the way. On location sets were beautiful. They made like life-sized X-Wing fighters and the Millennium Falcon.
Oh my gosh, that scene where they first show you the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah,
that hunk of junk.
I love it's like, hey, can we pilot that hunk of junk? Like, it's off screen. We don't know what he's talking about. It's like, shit, well, my ship is blown up. I guess we'll have to use it. The camera pans and the audience goes, yeah! Also, I just love, like, it's being able to go to the midnight screening of a Star Wars movie is just so beautiful when you hear, like, the entire audience just go crazy when they see the Millennium Falcon or C-3PO or R2-D2 or Han Solo.
The silence, though, when you see Luke.
Yeah.
The silence.
It's yes, like, he's in the movies, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, but you know why?
Yeah.
It's just it's so different. It feels so amazing because you'd expect someone to like, yeah, all right, Luke. No, fuck that. It's just
holy
like
shit.
It's like that chill, that vibe. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's so perfect.
And I guess last thing to talk about is Kylo Ren himself and how he works as a villain, where he's this dude who's so desperately trying to be the next Darth Vader, and he's like, "I'll finish what you started. One day I'll make you notice me, senpai."
I really want to know more of his backstory.
Yeah.
To know why he's so deranged.
Oh yeah. He's he's a younger, more brash, mentally unstable Darth Vader, essentially, where he wants to be cool, he wants to be intimidating, he wants people to take him seriously, but because of how the personal attachment he has to certain characters, it's like, I have to cut all ties as quickly as possible because this is not the path I want to take. I want the dark side. And it's that emotional struggle that's a little hammy.
It is. Like I said, especially when he starts throwing his tantrums.
Yeah.
It's great, comedic timing, but it's just like...
I mean, I guess he's supposed to come off as threatening because it's like having this guy with a lightsaber go on a tantrum is kind of scary if you think about it. Just this mentally unstable guy who's like, yeah!
But it doesn't come off as intimidating.
Yeah, it doesn't come off as intimidating.
No.
It just comes off as like petty, really.
Now let me ask you this: do you think he should have taken off that mask?
I think so, because I feel like it was really important for them to establish the fact that this guy is human. This guy, he's not Darth Vader. He doesn't have a cyborg body. He doesn't...
Well, he might now. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
He's not anything like Darth Vader. He's a normal dude who decided to switch sides, and... he wants to switch sides so badly, but for whatever, we don't know why he switched sides. So I have a feeling that we're going to get into.
I hope so.
Why in his later films.
We need more of his backstory.
Yeah.
Just more of him, and I'm hoping that's what we get in the sequel.
Right. But he is very powerful. He's dangerously powerful. He's like a kid with a gun.
Well, yes, but at the same time, I'm concerned because obviously we saw, what was the girl's name?
Phasma. No, Rey.
Rey. We saw Rey.
Yeah.
Do battle with him. And obviously things happen, but it makes me wonder just how
credible he can be as a villain.
Exactly.
Well, if you remember, the main head guy says he hasn't completed his training yet.
Yeah.
So that's obviously like, hey, sequel bait. He's going to come back more badass than ever.
Rey only had like 10 minutes with
I do like that because they do... Rey, I guess this is going to be a little spoiler, but Rey learns to use the Force. And she has a really good control over the Force, despite the fact that she has never been trained by either a Sith or a Jedi. So I hope that in future films that they will do something to where it's like she's not Jedi nor Sith nor a Knight of Ren. She's her own thing.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Without getting into any nitty-gritty details, is there anything you wanted to talk about?
No, I think we pretty much covered most of it. Honestly, we talked about the characters, the locations,
special effects.
Yeah,
CGI was a lot better than I've seen in other movies. I'll definitely say that. Even in some of the trailers that we saw before Star Wars, a lot of it felt like, oh, it's so obviously CG. It's like, wow, water destroying a bridge.
Oh my gosh, I know, right?
What was that? The Fifth Wave, the alien invasion movie with Chloe Moretz.
Those trailers weren't good, man.
it's like I've seen this all before. It's like CGI, blah blah blah. But here's the movie. I know I've seen people on Facebook who are afraid that this is just gonna be a big budget, in your face CGI fest. It's not. It's clearly meant to evoke age of filmmaking where you have to rely on the nitty gritty details of practical effects as opposed to relying on sterile environments, the sterile CG environments that plagued the Star Wars prequels. So I guess overall, for my rating, I will give this movie a 4 out of 5. It is a damn good movie, a damn good start to what hopefully is a
very successful
film franchise that has a lot of potential at this point. My only concern is that the villains feel like they weren't as strong as they could be, and all the callbacks to A New Hope, despite being rather interesting, was kind of distracting for a Star Wars fan like me. But who knows? Maybe there's a new generation of Star Wars fans who have not seen episode 4, 5, or 6, or 1, 2, 3, and they will have that feeling that I had when I saw episode 4 when they were kids.
Here's the thing, like you said, and you said obviously from the trilogy, original trilogy, 4 is not the best movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm hoping it's the same situation here, Yeah.
I mean, funny enough, 4 itself is the basic template for the hero's journey. The beginning, the middle, the end, the mentor and the rescuing the princess and meeting your allies along the way.
Can I just say I am glad. I was worried about this early on, that there was no liar revealed scenario that just came out, and they worked with it and through it like that.
Characters like, hey, listen, I lied. And the other person's like, okay, let's deal with this.
Yeah.
How can you lie to me? And then there's the separation. There's the sad montage.
No,
none of that.
It worked it so well. That's something I did want to add on, because there's so many things that just can't get past that whole liar and.
But even though the Star Wars itself, it's not an original story, but it manages to take it into a very memorable direction. I feel like they did the same thing here. But the thing is, this is taking. Not only is this a story that we've seen from Star Wars Episode 4 was taking elements from different stories, or a similar story, but from a different genre, I guess you can say. But here, it's taking a story that we've already seen within the same franchise. I think that could be a little problematic. But who knows? Maybe it's not for other people. And like I said, I still really enjoy the movie. I think it's a great film, and I highly recommend you check it out.
I completely agree. Now, in my case, it's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot, but ratings wise, I don't know if I can really give. I feel like giving ratings anymore. Mm-hmm. I come to realize with the past movies that we've reviewed, we usually end up looking back and being like, I think we overrated that. Yeah. So I think at this point now, when really reviewing movies, or actually talking about movies, discussing movies, because that's what this is. It's more of a discussion for me, at least.
Yeah. Just to share our thoughts and see what stuff we found interesting or not.
Yeah, ultimately all I can really say was God, it's Star Wars. It's back. It's here.
When you look at the prequels and you look at this, this is more deserving of the title Star Wars.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'd say just go watch it. I haven't
you
watched it. Yeah, of course I recommend it. And I'm like I said, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. It's been years since I've seen the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Which I wanted to watch them before I watched this movie. I didn't get the chance. Now I still want to go back and watch them.
Yeah.
But watching this movie makes me want to get invested in Star Wars again. I want to look into the lore. I want to look at the extended universe, and I think this movie does.
That's a testament to that. Yeah. It's this is obviously made by people who love Star Wars and want to give you that feeling of this is Star Wars.
So be invested. Learn our lore. Keep watching.
Buy our shit.
Buy our shit. Exactly. So I think this movie does that all and beyond.
Yes, and I'm very glad to have ended 2015 with this particular film. But who knows? Hopefully, maybe we'll see some more movies, and we'll do some catch-up video later on. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on our review for the long-awaited Star Wars The Force Awakens. And hopefully, we'll probably see you all again when Star Wars Rogue One comes out, the Gareth Edwards directed Star Wars spin-off film.
Now, do we know what that one's going to be about?
I think so, but I probably forgot about it already.
Okay, because I honestly have no idea. Like I said,
I think maybe it might be the beginnings of the Rebel Alliance, maybe.
Okay.
Or maybe it has to do with Rogue Squadron. Maybe not Rogue Squadron, because that's a video game about Luke and his X-Wing fighter team, and we know we can't really have Luke because he's old now.
Yeah.
So, once again, I have been your host, Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir.
And Pete.
And until next time, everybody, take care and may the Force be with you.
Yay!
Da 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 da.